What's going on, Knicks fans? Welcome to another edition of Knicks Latest, your go-to YouTube channel for everything New York Knicks related. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you like, drop a comment. I do take your comments. I use them for content. I answer your questions, all that good stuff. The Knicks are making a run at the Eastern Conference 2 seed, and it starts tonight against the Cleveland Cavaliers. James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, they're all coming to town. The bright lights of Madison Square Garden. Mitchell Robinson, your worst nightmare, Cleveland, will be there. Huge game at the Garden. Knicks against Cavs. The Cavs have been playing better as of late. They finally caught their first L against the Oklahoma City Thunder the other day since acquiring James Harden. They're actually their first loss since February. The Knicks are also on a little bit of a tear here, so two teams on an upward trend. Basically, in my opinion, vying for the 2 seed. Now, the Cavs, they're not to be underestimated. I know a lot of Knicks fans think about the Cavaliers and think about what they did against the New York Knicks or didn't do against the New York Knicks in the playoffs a few years ago, and they think, hey, we got this in the bag. Same old Cavs. You know, this team, they're paper tigers. They don't really scare me. But I would like to remind Knicks fans about last year when the Knicks could not beat the Cleveland Cavaliers in the regular season. I would like to remind the Knicks fans about last year when the Cleveland Cavaliers were the best team in the regular season in the Eastern Conference. Now, they lost in the end to the Pacers, just like the New York Knicks did, but there were injuries surrounding that. There's a lot of context as to why the Cavaliers did not go as far as a lot of experts and a lot of their fans thought they would. This is a good basketball team. Make no mistakes about it. Now, the Knicks had a great win against them on Christmas a couple months ago. That's when the Cavs really started turning it around. They acquired James Harden. They're getting healthier. You know, right now they're just really only missing Max Strus. Evan Mobley's coming back from injury. He's in and out of the lineup. He hasn't played back-to-backs yet, kind of like our Mitchell Robinson right now. But they are getting healthy. And James Harden has fit in beautifully. It's going to be a test for the New York Knicks point of attack defense specifically. This is a challenge for the perimeter defenders. Challenge for Mikal Bridges. Challenge for OG Anunoby. Jose Alvarado when he comes off the bench. Jalen Brunson. What are you going to do with Jalen Brunson when he's on the court as well? They have a lot of players who can penetrate, get into the paint. They also have a lot of players who can shoot the basketball. Sam Merrill had a bunch of threes the other night against OKC even in a loss. He can light it up on any given night. Donovan can light it up on any given night. This team could shoot the rock. Dean Wade, a 6'9" forward who can guard the perimeter but also step out and shoot the three as well. You know, Josh Hart's going to have to bring it defensively. This is a team that can score the basketball in many different ways and can stretch you out. It's going to be a challenge. It's a different challenge than the Detroit Pistons, but it's going to be a challenge. You know, to me, my favorite version of the Cavaliers is a team that runs, you know, they're moving the ball around the perimeter. They get into the paint. They're getting into a blender. They have a nice high-low game with Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen. Now, I am very confident in Mitchell Robinson to shut that down like he has, you know, pretty much his whole career against the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm pretty sure they had nightmares about him, but it's still going to be a test, you know, and it's going to be a test for a reason because these, in my opinion, are the two best teams in the Eastern Conference after the Detroit Pistons. You know, this is a huge game on the schedule if the Knicks want any type of home court advantage for multiple rounds in the Eastern Conference playoffs. You know, I do want to see the Knicks get that 2 seed. We'll talk about that in a second. But first, I got to tell you about Mars Men. This is a company that makes supplements that give you more energy. You know, as someone who is 38 years old, somebody who just does not have the energy that I used to have. This is a supplement that I use personally to get myself going throughout the day. Just an energy booster, right? These 5-hour energy drinks, caffeine, these things aren't good for you. But Mars Men, it allows me to get up, go to work, do what I got to do throughout the day. You know, I don't work a 9 to 5. Sometimes I work 10 to 12 hours. It depends on the day. But I like playing pickup basketball. And this gives me the ability to do that, right? It doesn't make me tired. It gives me the energy to actually have the ability to get in my car and go play when I want to play. And helps me survive the day as well. You know, for the past few years, I've kind of been working remote here and there. I'm laying in bed. I'm not doing much. I don't have a lot of motivation. But Mars Men, it really gives me, you know, the energy that I need to do what I want to do throughout the day. You know, it's a boost in testosterone, but it's not a boost in testosterone the way that other supplement pills are, where it's only in one area of your life, if you know what I'm talking about. This is going to help you wherever you want to go for whatever you want to do throughout the day. And for a limited time only, our listeners get 50% off for life, plus free shipping and 3 free gifts at mengotomars.com. It's a perfect way to kick off the new year strong. That's mengotomars.com for 50% off and 3 free gifts at checkout. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. please support our show and tell them our show sent you. Moving on. Knicks Cavs. Gotta see Cat dominate today. I left it out in my general preview of the game just because I wanted to talk about this specifically. Got to see Cat dominate. Karl-Anthony Towns has had a fantastic weekend for the Knicks. This is the best he's played, in my opinion, all year offensively. He seems like he's confident in himself. Mike Brown, Jalen Brunson, they seem to be working him into the offense more frequently, earlier. He is a go-to guy that the Knicks are going to have to use if they're going to make any noise in the playoffs whatsoever. And he stepped up in the past weekend, and he showed why he is. If it wasn't for him against the Rockets, the Knicks don't win that game. I wouldn't say he's single-handedly responsible for that win, but he's a huge reason why the Knicks won that game. He's a huge reason why the Knicks' ceiling is so high. I say this about the Knicks all the time. They have such a high ceiling. To me, they have the highest ceiling in the East, but their floor is so low, and that's because Cat can do this. A lot of it is based off of Karl-Anthony Towns, right? Aside from Mikal Bridges, he's probably the one player that I feel does this throughout the whole year. And depending on where it lands, that's where the Knicks are going to end up. Right now, we're on this high streak with him. He has to continue to play that way. But it's also up to Mike Brown. It's up to Jalen Brunson to get in the basketball. A lot of times they run action at the top of the key, dribble handoffs, the little pass that he does, cutting off of him. I want to see him in the post. I know tonight got a matchup against Evan Mobley, maybe Jared Allen. We'll see. But that doesn't mean you don't give the ball to the post to, the most offensively talented big man in the league. Or maybe you run some pick and roll up top, have him pop. But Karl-Anthony Towns needs to be a big piece of this offense going forward. And I'm hoping that Mike Brown realizes this, because it seems like they just weren't on the same page to start the year and for most of the year. But something seems to have changed this past weekend, and that's what I'm looking out for today. Can Karl-Anthony Towns continue to be involved in the offense? And when things kind of go awry, are we going to stick with it, right? Is he going to get frustrated? Is he going to draw stupid fouls? Is he going to have that stupid offensive foul he has almost every game? What is that going to look like when the high isn't that high and we need Cat to be more steady and to be more focused? So that's what I'm looking forward to tonight. Also, point of attack defense. That, to me, are the two most important things going into Cavs-Knicks tonight. And like I said before, battle of the 2 seed. You got the Knicks, you got the Cavs, and the Boston Celtics. At this point, I do think it's a two-team race. I know it's a very ignorant thing to say, considering the Celtics are the 2 seed right now. Just don't have faith in them. To me, whoever wins this series going forward between the Knicks and the Cavs with the remaining games is going to be the 2 seed. The Knicks have to keep up this high level of play. They have to make a statement today. After getting smacked by the Detroit Pistons, a lot of Knicks fans, a lot of Knicks media was down on this team, not thinking that they were contenders. They've responded with 2 victories on the weekend, one against the Rockets, one against the Bulls, but they had to do it in not so impressive fashion. I do think a very impressive win against the Cleveland Cavaliers team today would not just obviously help them in the standings, but it would help the morale of the team, and it would start the path of claiming that 2 seed once and for all. I'm not worried about the Celtics, like I said, but this Cavs team is a team that I'm worried about, and they need to get this victory. All right, well, that's going to do it for today. Subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, all that good stuff. Make sure you like the video. I do take your comments. I use them for questions and all that, so make sure you ask a question. Make sure you give your analysis on the game, what you think is going to happen today. Let me know what you think about Karl-Anthony Towns moving forward, and I'll catch you tomorrow for an episode of Knicks Latest. Peace.